Hello, Darren the Magic Ghostbuster here to answer all your questions. Big thank you to everyone that submitted a question on the community page on my channel. Really do appreciate it, and I'm going to answer them all now. If you have any further questions, post them in the comments below, and hopefully eventually when I get enough, I'll do another video like this. But anyway, on with the questions. Ghostbusters Collector asks, would you like to see a Ghostbusters film which uses deepfake technology to bring back Peter, Ray, Egon and Winston? A sequel set not too long after Ghostbusters 2 in which we see younger versions of the characters. So, first of all, yes, I would love to see certainly stories set in that time period. Obviously, we had the IDW comics and Ghostbusters the video game, which are no longer canon in that time period. I'd love to see something now canon. Before Ghostbusters Afterlife was a thing, and after Harold Ramis sadly passed away, I used to say that they should have used the audio from Ghostbusters the video game and made a CGI film basically based around that story, because you had all the voice work of all the actors including Harold Ramis, and you could have brought in the living actors to obviously add extra dialogue if you wanted. So definitely would be interested to see that. Deepfake technology I don't even think was around then, or if it was, it certainly wasn't, you know, what it is now. And I mean, it's incredible how quick this is advancing. Like when you compare the first time they did Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian compared to what he looked like in the Boba Fett series, like it's just improving all the time, and then fans are improving on this as well. It is just insane. So yeah, as long as it's done good, basically, that's the main thing for me. Obviously, if Harold Ramis, you'd need a good voice actor who can do his voice, and I guess with this deepfake technology as well, I guess you need the right actors to do the bodies and all that sort of stuff. As long as it's done good, basically, I'd love to see it. Morgan Spider-Man Marvel fan asks, who is your favourite member of the Ghostbusters team? Man, that is such a hard question. That is like a really, really hard question. Like, I think when I was a kid, it was definitely Peter Venkman because he was the cool one. But I think as you get older, like, you appreciate them more. Like, it's funny, like, when I was a kid, all my friends loved Peter, whereas nowadays it seems like Egon is generally the favourite of everyone, which I find really interesting. And I think that's because, like, back when you're a kid, oh, he's just a geek, you know, and then as you get older, you actually really appreciate the humour and just how cool he really is. Who's my favourite? That is such a hard question. I'm going to have to cop out and say I love them all equally. Like, they all bring different things to it, and it's, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not a very good answer, but that's what I'm sticking with. Chris Redfield asks, who is your favourite magician? Do you have any advice for anyone starting in magic, and what do you do outside of magic and ghostbusting? So a few little questions there. So favourite magician, or magicians I guess, is Penn and Teller. There's two, but they come as one. When I first got into magic, it was through Paul Daniels, so, you know, special shout out for Paul Daniels and watching him on telly and his magic set. But as soon as I saw Penn and Teller, they had this late night show on Channel 4, I think it was. As soon as I saw them, there was no looking back. They've been my favourite since I was a kid, you know, love Penn and Teller so much. One of my favourite tricks is needle illusion, where the magician puts loads of needles in their mouth, swallows them, the thread, brings it out, and they're all threaded on to the thread. And no one does it as good as Teller. If I could do it half as good as Teller, I'd be a very happy man. But they're just amazing. Advice for getting into magic? I think I would say don't get overwhelmed, because when you first get into magic, there's so many tricks out there, and when you first start, like, you don't know how any of this works, and you find yourself wanting to know how every single thing works, and that will come in time. You know, you learn most stuff. And I have found when I first started, like, getting into it more seriously and started getting money, I'd just buy anything. I'd spend so much money on different tricks, learning secrets, and back then you didn't have, like, the internet magic forums, Facebook groups to ask advice and all that in. So I think when you see a trick that you like the look of and you think, oh, I'd love to learn that, maybe step back for a minute and just think, would you actually use it? Do you really want to do it? You know, that sort of thing. If you plan on taking this into a career like I have rather than just a hobby, you need to remember that it's not just a trick, it's about the entertainment as well. So that's something else to work on. Like, I advise doing improv classes, especially because with magic, you know, you're interacting with people. Like if you're doing close-up, and many stage magicians will get people up on stage to help. So you're interacting with people, so improv, because you don't know what they're going to say, what they're going to do half the time. so they might interrupt a trick or so, with questions. So you need to be able to basically, if you are dedicated to a script and you have no improv skills, you might be halfway through this script, get interrupted, and just completely lose it. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, but I highly recommend getting into Magic Ghostbusters, and it's a wonderful hobby and a wonderful career. Whichever path you take, highly recommend it. Whether it's just for doing some tricks down the pub or going out and entertaining thousands on stage, highly recommend it. And what was the other question? The other question was, what are my hobbies outside of Magic and Ghostbusting? So I like gaming, I play video games. I'm not a big online gamer. I like the stuff where I can get really immersed into a game, stick the headphones on, turn the lights out, and just really get into it. I like playing guitar, although I don't get to play it as much as I would like at the moment. That's something I really need to step up. The last couple of years I've really gotten into trying to get fit, basically, fitness, going to the gym quite a lot. Still a long way to go from where I want to be. I'm certainly not going to be changing my name to the Buff Ghostbuster anytime soon, but yeah, that's one of the things I've really got into the last couple of years. Stephen Eads, I hope I've pronounced that last name right. I've already actually answered this one, but my question is, how many times am I going to have to ask for a complete room tour? A huge video like that will definitely get a lot of views. It's done, so if you want to see my room tour, go and check out my other videos. It is there now, finally. The Solder Mind asks, what are your thoughts on a Ghostbusters Afterlife director's cut? Well, I would certainly be interested to see one. It's not something I majorly want to see necessarily. I would love to see the deleted scenes, and I'm not massively fussed whether that's just separately or within a director's cut. I feel like normally these scenes are deleted for a reason, because they don't quite work with what the director planned in the flow of the film. I would actually be curious to see what the film was like before the pandemic, because obviously the film was delayed because of the COVID pandemic. And I remember Jason Reitman saying that was almost a gift to him, because it allowed him to work a lot more on the film than he would have got otherwise. So I'd be curious to see what the film looked like before then, just to see what had changed. But the deleted scenes, I mean, I know there was some pictures of Janine at the house at the end. There's pictures of Janine with at Dana and Peter's apartment. So be curious to see them. I'm surprised they weren't put on one of the box sets or DVDs, but I do wonder, this is probably just complete fan theory nonsense, but I actually wondered if, particularly with the Janina, Dana and Bill's, Peter, sorry, calling him the actor's name, Janina, Peter and Dana's apartment, I wondered if he might have been filming stuff for the Firehouse, possibly. He thought, we've got Bill Murray, let's get him into the next film as well. It's probably just stupid fan speculation and not completely accurate at all, but it'd be cool, because I don't see them getting him back for that otherwise. But yeah, I'd definitely be interested to see it, definitely. Rick Merrick asks, can you show coin magic, coin toss? I'll be completely honest, I'm not a big fan of coin magic. It's not really my sort of thing. The coin magic, or the magic I do that uses coins, I don't really consider under the coin magic banner. If you go and check my magic playlist, which I'll try and put a little thing above for that, I do have some tricks that use coins. Like there's one where someone signs their name on a coin, disappears and appears in a nest of Russian dolls, Ghostbusters Russian dolls, of course, or nesting dolls, I think. And then there's this trick I'll do a lot where I wrap a coin in some paper, put it on top of the deck, set fire to it, and it burns through and finds their card. I've done a Ghostbusters version of this. Again, it's on the playlist. Instead of using the coin, I used a little metal Proton Pack from a Monopoly game, but same sort of trick, basically. And also I have a video of Slimer doing a trick that was made famous by David Blaine, where you take a coin, bite the top off, and then blow it, and the coin comes back on. But I feel like when you're asking coin magic, you're maybe talking about more sleight of hand type stuff. And like I said, it's not really my thing. There's some people that do it amazingly, but if I tried to show you a coin toss, it would just expose it, and it would just look terrible. So yeah, probably not the answer you were looking for, but there it is. So M asks, what are your hopes for the animated series and animated film being produced by Ghost Corp? My only hope really is that they're good. I don't have much more beyond that, really. I hope it ties into the Ghostbusters universe. I hope they're not, you know, setting some alternate reality or some weird stuff. But I just hope they're good, basically. That's my only hope at this point in time. Emma's asked some other questions. How do you feel about Bill Murray holding things up for so many years back in the day? I kind of think with that, like, Bill Murray, we know, was basically the thing holding back a Ghostbusters 3. And if he had done it back in the day, would we be sitting here now enjoying it? Like, maybe if we ended up with like Ghostbusters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever at this point, maybe we'd be fed up with it. Maybe the films would have deteriorated in time. So I kind of feel like everything happens for a reason. Afterlife was brilliant, and you know, maybe it was for the best ultimately. And also I think we have to remember that Bill Murray's an actor, he's not Peter Venkman, and to him it's just a job, and he doesn't owe us as fans anything, you know. He gave us his performance as Peter Venkman, which was brilliant. He doesn't owe us any more than that. Em also asked, what do you want to see from Ghostbusters Firehouse and the franchise going forward? Do you want more nostalgia, or now, like me, think it's time for new ghosts and new ideas? I feel the Firehouse location will be nostalgia enough this time around. And I completely agree with that. I want to see new things. A little nostalgia will be great. See, like I said, Firehouse is going to be nostalgia enough. I'm certain there'll be a reference to Stay Puft Marshmallows in there. You know, I'm sure there'll be a billboard or a poster or a bag on a counter somewhere. I'll be surprised if Slimer doesn't make it a cameo this time, you know, being basically, you know, set in New York and all that. But yes, absolutely need new ideas. Absolutely, and new stuff. A lot of fans, I noticed, when the film was announced, were like, right, like, they want Vigo back. Why do you want Vigo back? Vigo's story is done. We don't need Vigo back. We need new stuff. I definitely don't want to see Vigo back. Again, don't mind if there's a reference, you know, like the painting in the basement of the firehouse or something, but definitely don't want Vigo back. I felt like Afterlife was perfect. I felt like because of the long gap and because of the way 2016 Ghostbusters was badly received, it needed to get back on track. It needed to bring nostalgia, remind us of how good Ghostbusters was, and I felt like that is what Afterlife achieved. It reminds me a little bit of Star Wars, like when Force Awakens come back. They needed to win Star Wars fans back because the prequels were not very well received. I know they seem to be more appreciated nowadays, but they weren't well received at the time. And even though Force Awakens was basically a soft reboot of A New Hope, it captured that Star Wars feeling and, you know, gave people a good, you know, hope for the future of the franchise. And I thought Force Awakens was a good stepping off point. Unfortunately, it stepped off and went down. But at that point, I think it needed to win fans back, and that is what I feel Afterlife achieved as well. So we just need it to now go up and not down. Em also asks, where did your Proton Pack shell originate from? Which creator? My Proton Pack is a Ben of Kent shell and kit. As far as I know, Ben made those himself and then obviously moulded them. I don't know much more about that. I just know it's a Ben of Kent one, and it's great. Highly recommend them. Em also asks, your favourite Ghostbusters ghost that isn't Slimer or Stay Puft or the Scoleri brothers or Vigo? It's easy. It's in Ghostbusters 2. It's the fur coat ghost. I just always loved that scene. I just thought it was funny how this person's walking around with a fur coat, suddenly it comes alive like that, and she takes it off and it runs down the street. Always loved it. Really wish they did a toy of it. And Em's last question is, what are your top 5 real Ghostbusters episodes? So, that's a tough question. I think the number one is one of the most cliche ones. It's Citizen Ghost. That is, of course, the one where they've come back from battling Gozer. It explains how Slimer comes to live with them. Always liked that one. Not a popular choice, Ghosts Are Us, which was the first episode. And I had that on videotape when I was younger. Just watched it over and over and over. So, like, I wouldn't class it necessarily as the best episode. It's just so ingrained in my mind. Like, I probably remember that more than any other episode. And so that just has a special place for me. Mrs. Rogers' Neighbourhood, where they battle Watt, I thought was a great episode. Really, really creepy. Another cliche one, I guess, When Halloween Was Forever, where we meet Sam Hain, which was, again, another great episode. And then I think Ghostbuster of the Year was another one, like that ghost I just found really creepy as well. So yeah, it's a tough choice going through them all, but I think those are probably my top 5. And another from Ghostbusters Collector, a slightly different twist on the last one. How do you see the future of the Ghostbusters films without Egon, Peter, Ray and Winston? Does the franchise need these characters? Would you like to see the franchise continue with these characters in some way, be it using deepfake tech or going fully animated? Like I said before, I would love to see some stuff set in between 2 and Afterlife, absolutely. I think going forward, so outside of, or beyond Afterlife even, set in the future, I don't think we need Egon. I feel like his story was wrapped up beautifully. You know, he's passed on to wherever. We definitely don't need Egon. We definitely need Winston, I think, absolutely. We know he's back in Firehouse for at least the next one, if not 2, because it looks like he's the one who's going to finance the Ghostbusters now, certainly. Ray, again, I feel like you would definitely want to keep around for another film or 2, you know, because of his knowledge and everything. Peter, just all depends on Bill Murray. I think if we ever get Bill Murray in another film, it's not going to be more than a cameo. And I don't think we necessarily need him. I mean, the future is definitely going to be in the new characters, I think. And as long as they're good written characters, like the young kids in Afterlife, you know, it'd be interesting to see them progress over the next few films. So as long as they continue to write them well and act them well, definitely don't think we need to rely on those old characters, because we're never going to get those characters as good as we got them back in the day. Absolutely, I don't think we will. So definitely the future is in new stuff. The thing that worries me about deepfake technology, and this is progressing all the time, you know, like I compared earlier about, you know, Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian's Book of Boba Fett, you know, and I feel like one of the problems that this could present in the future is making it harder for other actors to progress, because let's say they're doing a film in 20 years, I go and audition for the lead, but then they're like, no, but we have the rights to deepfake Robert Downey Jr. Who are they going to pick? Me? No one knows. Or the big megastar that they can just CGI a face onto someone, you know? So I think that makes it harder for other actors if we get to that point when, you know, they just have a data bank of big A-list celebrities that they can just put in with some CGI. So that's something that does worry me about the deepfake thing. But like I said, I'll be very... I mean, I'm always up for watching anything Ghostbusters, and as long as it's good is my main stipulation. So, but I don't think we need those characters in the long term. I do think we need them, certainly in the next film, and maybe the film after that, just to sort of ease out of them a bit. And the last one from Ghostbusters Collector. Is it just me, or are UK toy shops completely ignoring Ghostbusters? Whenever I go into a toy shop, I never see any Ghostbusters merchandise on the shelves, even upon the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's kind of sad, especially when you consider just how popular the real Ghostbusters Kenner line was. What are your thoughts? And that is something I totally agree with as well. Like, the Ghostbusters merchandise has been shockingly bad. And now, I have spoken to a couple of people with a bit of insider information, and it sounds like it's more a Hasbro problem than a toy shop problem. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying what I've heard second hand. But from what I understand, it's Hasbro's distribution is absolutely poor. Like Smith's Toy Shop is probably the biggest toy chain in the UK, and I don't think they got anything. Like I saw one of those Funko Soda things of Venkman, but only one. I mean, they've had 4 or 5 now, and so that's the only one I've seen, because I did buy one out of there. I don't think I remember seeing any of the Funko Pops in there actually of Ghostbusters. Certainly didn't see any of the Kenner line. And like when you look at some of the cheaper end stuff, like the kids Proton Pack, Utrona Wand and all that, why was that not in the toy shops or the supermarkets when the film come out? You know, I don't get it, and I just find it really weird. But then a lot of those toys have turned up on like cheap websites like Bargain Max, Toys for a Pound, those sort of places, when they never even made it to a proper retail shop. Like, I know online shops had all this stuff, but you want to see this stuff when you go out. I know there is a shop called The Entertainer, which is probably the second biggest chain. They won't stock Ghostbusters apparently because of religious reasons. The same reason they won't stock Harry Potter. because they think it's witchcraft. So that I kind of understand from that point of view. They don't want to sell it, so that's, you can't blame that on Hasbro. I do think it's a weird policy, but it's up to them, it's their shop. But yeah, I find it weird that a lot of stuff wasn't more mainstream. I've also wondered, actually, like, why don't cinemas sell toys? Like, I wonder if there's like a licensing reason behind that, because I would have thought, like, cinemas always say, like, they charge, like, you know, a kidney for a bowl of popcorn because they don't make, you know, hardly any money from the showing of the film. And I used to think, well, why don't they sell toys then? So, like, you know, you took the kids to see the latest Toy Story film. As they're coming out, you've got the latest Buzz Lightyear and Woody action figures right there for them to buy. That would be a big money maker, and then you could sell film posters and all sorts, like, for collectors. So I wonder if there's a licensing reason behind that. But I always thought that was a good opportunity for selling stuff. But yeah, the UK toy shops, I've seen a couple of things in game, but they've been the Plasma series figures, and a little bit overpriced. And I did see some of the Fright Features ones in a shop in Eastbourne, like a small little independent toy shop. But other than that, yeah, not really much of it about, and I think it's a shame. And like I said, I think it's ridiculous. So yeah, totally agree with you. Why isn't it out? Matthew Lavagna asks, what Ghostbusters items would you like to add to your collection? Are there any particular rare items from the past that you'd like to get your hands on? What things would you like to see made that haven't been produced? I saw two items years ago that I've never seen before and have never seen since. One was a Kenner Fright Features Ray, but the packaging also contained a VHS tape of the real Ghostbusters. The other was a collection of the Rainbow Real Ghostbusters VHS tapes, but they were all contained within a special case. Again, never saw it before or since. So, those two items you mentioned, I've never seen them either. Didn't even know about them until you've mentioned them there. So, if anyone else has heard of those, be curious to know. And I'd like to add to my collection if they could find them. What would I like to add to my collection? Ooh, there's still a few things. Mainly it's like plug-in gaps now. Like, I still need to get a couple of the Ectoplasm Ghosts. Still need a couple of the Ecto Glow figures. I'm just not willing to pay the stupid prices that they go for nowadays. I think it's ridiculous. There's some Diamond Select glasses, and I had the set. You had the 4 characters, and for some reason my Peter one went missing when I moved years ago, so need that. Remco did a couple of LCD things. One was a pinball machine, one was like an arcade one. I want the arcade one, which I found loose. I'm just holding that for a boxed one because I have the pinball one, so that's definitely something I want. I'm missing a McDonald's Happy Meal box, which I need to get. So it's mainly just like plugging gaps really in certain little bits. What would I like to see produced? Almost, there's part of me, right, that doesn't want them to produce anything else because I want it all and I'm running out of room. So there's almost part of me that's like dreading the next film and all the merchandise. It's like, where is it going to go? Just can't fit it in anywhere. I would like to see a better range of figures from another company like NECA, like, because I'd love to see Hasbro lose a license basically, and I'd love to see NECA get it back because they made the best figures by far as far as I'm concerned. Those Terror Dogs are amazing. I'd love to see what they do with the rest of the characters. I'd also love to see more diorama stuff, like the Diamond Select range that come with that Gozer Temple. I thought was really good. The Firehouse diorama from their second series was really good. I'd love to see more stuff like that. I would love to see some more Ghostbusters Lego. There was loads of rumoured stuff for Ghostbusters Afterlife and it never materialised. Whether that was something that was in the pipeline that never happened or if it was just complete BS, I don't know. But I would love to see some more Ghostbusters Lego, absolutely. And cheaper stuff as well. The Firehouse, I think, was about £300 when it came out. Obviously they go for double that now, I think, on eBay and the secondary market. But why not do some smaller sets that are more affordable for people? Because a lot of people just don't have the money to spend £300 a time on a Lego set. So that's the sort of stuff I would like to see. So that is all the questions. I hope I didn't miss any. I have gone through it and I don't think I have. If I have, I do apologise. Please comment it below. And if you have any other questions, comment below and I will definitely answer them in a future video. But thanks for watching. Thanks for asking your questions. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep on busting.